In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with y'all 2 stocks to keep in your watch list for this week. We're also going to be looking at some of the stocks that I've mentioned in the last video, along with the win and updates on the overall markets. Y'all, let's dive into the charts right off the bat. We got the Nasdaq, and so far it's looking a bit dicey. We experienced some turbulence after the CPI report came out. There was kind of a rotation of money going from the Nasdaq and into the Dow Jones and the Russell. All right, let's check out those two. Let me go on the 1 minute or the 3 minute. That works. And for the Dow Jones, I'm gonna clean up the charts. And now let's look at it on the 1 hour. So the CPI report came out, and this is Thursday. All right, it popped up a little bit. It didn't sell off like the Nasdaq did, and then there was a follow through on Friday. All right, there is a structure on there on the Dow. It's a bullish rectangle right there that broke out through CPI, continued higher. So with the Dow futures watching for a move up to 41,000, that could happen tomorrow if we continue to see this rotation of money happen. For the Nasdaq, I'm not so sure if it's going to climb at all. It's either going to be neutral or it might actually sell off. Right now, the futures on the left side is up by a little bit, 0.26%. All right, but with this right here, again, it's not out of the woods yet. So be really careful. I'm leaning more bearish on the tech stock, and compared to like the every other sector in the overall markets. Now let's discuss the 2 stocks to keep in your watch list. The first one is going to be PayPal. All right, now I want to share PayPal with you because it is on a massive discount, first and foremost, and I'm sure you see the structure that I have on there, which is the reason why I want to share with y'all. But first, we have the drop from 70 all the way down to 57. And now it's trying to make its way back up. This is kind of a small stock. When the Russell moves higher, this one also follows through. There is a small bullish pennant on the charts that didn't have confirmation on Friday. It's still cooking for now, and it looks decent for now. I have an alert right at 60.60, and I'm patiently waiting for this thing to ring. If it's kind and generous, it might just open up just a little bit higher for the bell to ring, and then we will see a nice push up. If it's vicious and decides to just spike pre-market, that would be kind of annoying, right? It wouldn't really give anybody a chance to actually get in after the breakout and make some money on the way up, because it could happen. I'm gonna share with you an example of that actually happening on the trade that I took, which it was with IWM, but you will see what I mean. So this is the first one to keep on your watch, for the breakout to 62. Now the next one that we gotta look at is kind of like an update from the last video. It's BLK. All right, now with BLK, congratulations to anybody who took it. I warned you guys, this will make a huge move tomorrow, and it definitely did. This was much more like a 2-day move. It spiked up on Thursday after the CPI report came out. The contracts on BLK were up by like 170%, and we're up even more on Friday. Right now with the stock has earnings pre-markets. I shared it with you guys in the last video, this big structure, this big bullish pennant. Usually, like ideally, all right, whenever there is, when earnings is not in the way and everything is cool, what we can expect from this structure right there is a massive move up here, way up here. All right. So I don't really know if it's going to open that high in the morning, because again, holding anything through earnings is 150% gambling, right? And if you're gonna do it, manage your risk. Okay, so anything could really happen with it. It could collapse, it could stay flat, or it could actually do what it's supposed to do under normal circumstances and move all the way up here. All right, but it's definitely worth watching. The same thing can also be said with another stock, Goldman Sachs. And Goldman Sachs also has earnings pre-market tomorrow. It's trading at all-time highs, and it could surprise everybody. So these are the two with earnings to really keep an eye on if you're looking for an earnings play for tomorrow. Now, let's discuss the trade that I took. All right, now between Wednesday and Thursday, right? I told y'all I was leaning bullish on the CPI. I told y'all that I had reasons to believe that the CPI was actually going to be cooler than expected. And if you look at this thing, right? This is how the trend was. From 3.3, it dropped all the way down to 3%, which is below the expected 3.1%. Now, let's go back to the Discord. Before the report, I actually bought calls on IWM. Yeah, because this thing had this structure right there. There was a bullish pennant, similar to what you've seen on PayPal, right? No confirmation yet. But that didn't stop me from buying calls on it. I thought CPI was going to be the reason for a massive push out of there. And ultimately, it turned out to be true. The next day on the 11th, we had a huge spike on the Russell. Money rotated from the Nasdaq into the Russell. And the contracts that I was holding on IWM were up by 200%. I ended up getting out in the first 5 minutes. I did had a price target of 210. The only mistake that I made on here was not holding all the way through to 210 and beyond. This is how we pretty much did on Thursday. Again, this is my contracts. I tripled my money from that. Somebody else also tripled their money with IWM calls. Somebody else made 2.5x their money on IWM. Some people held even longer and did a lot better than I did, which is fantastic to see. All right, so that's pretty much how we did between Wednesday and Thursday. So let's go back to ThinkorSwim. A lot of you had questions, so we're gonna look at some of them. Somebody asked me to look at HD. Like I said before, if you have questions, drop them in the comment section of the videos. I do see them. And if they're good enough, I will discuss them. Kind of like how I shared my thoughts on this one. And it actually played out to go... And it actually played out to the bullish side and ended up closing this gap right here. I was expecting a move up there. It wasn't very clean, right? But the uptrend was there. And again, y'all can thank the person who asked about it, because there was a lot of money to be made on Enphase. Now, back to HD. HD is kind of looking like a triple bottom, like an inverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Before this thing actually went up after CPI, it formed something really sus, but I thought it could run. Like it had this sloppy, it's more like a falling wedge, honestly. All right, but it started picking up between Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday it pushed even higher. So with this move right here, I do think it's going to cool down a little bit. I think it's going to trade sideways for a few days before we see a continuation higher. That's what I think. I think anybody who bought calls right here will be looking to take their money off the table, especially if we don't open high or if it stalls. Okay, now the next one that we're going to look at is JP Morgan. Now, unlike Goldman Sachs, this one, Goldman Sachs haven't had its earnings yet. All right, It hadn't had its earnings yet, but this one actually turned out bearish through earnings. It's trading near all-time highs. It's slowly rolling over. If the reaction to Goldman Sachs is negative, this thing could actually tank. Like, it could actually drop by a lot. Kind of like what we've seen with Wells Fargo. It was very unfortunate. Again, but that's the thing about earnings. You never know which way it's going to go. And sometimes even when it forms structures before the report, the reaction does not always validate the structure. So be careful gambling through earnings. Throughout the week, I'm going to be sharing more stocks that have earnings and more setups that are there. All right, just to get you guys ready as always. That's my honest thoughts on all of these stocks. And that is the end of the video. Do not forget to annihilate the like button as always. I make these videos from from Sunday to Thursday at exactly 10 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on future uploads. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, along with the details of the contracts that I buy, and most importantly, the reason why I take the trades that I take to begin with. That way you get to learn along the way. You can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. To get some free stocks with Webull, you can use the third link in the bottom, the third link below. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media at Paul and Guman at Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. Alright. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in tomorrow night's video.